Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is April 10th of 2026. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears that CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to stage a full-scale Chinese, Iranian, North Korean, or Russian attack, bombing, or invasion targeting multiple sovereign nations on the um, evening of April 11th in the United States and April 12th elsewhere in the world. Exactly when this earth changing event is going to transpire is obviously not known, but will most likely happen during the live broadcast of UFC 237, UFC 327 in Miami, Florida on the evening of Saturday, April 11th, 2026. This event is going to be attended by U.S. President Donald J. Trump. And it is during this event that this attack, which is going to be a false flag, which I'm going to get into in a second, is going to transpire. And it is highly likely that upon hearing the news of this attack, Donald J. Trump will suffer a medical event in the arena, or he will be rushed out of the arena, and something will happen to him. Either he will an ambush attack, or he will take off in a plane and the plane will go down or be shot down. But shit's going to hit the fan during the live broadcast of UFC 327 on the evening of April 11th in the United States, April 12th around the world. So earlier I said this is going to be a false flag, although there is a percentage chance. I would say I would give it maybe 10% chance that there is a possibility that China, Iran, and Russia could collude in staging a multi-front attack, bombing, or invasion targeting multiple countries around the world on the date of April 11th through April 12th of 2026. There's a 90% chance or higher that this is going to be a massive attack by what I call the shadow fleet of the Israeli Navy. So unbeknownst to most of humanity, Israel has a much larger navy than they let on. That is because they are the recipients of ships and submarines which are decommissioned by the United States and the Royal Navy of England. And they also get prototypes of the latest new equipment. So they have an advantage because the CIA controls the entire radar system of the world through NATO satellites. So they can essentially make the Israeli fleet, because they have software which allows them to basically navigate the waters of the world undetected, which is obviously very, very dangerous for the rest of humanity. And we're going to see this manifest itself on the date of April 11th through the 12th when they launch an unprecedented attack targeting multiple locations, likely via their German-made Dolphin-class submarines of the Israeli Navy. So before before Switzerland and her CIA in Geneva, before they orchestrate a World War III type of event, they want to parade the militaries and the leaders of China, Iran, and Russia together so that it makes it look like they're in collusion with each other. And this narrative was most recently witnessed in Operation Will for Peace off the coast of the Republic of South Africa, with the Chinese Navy, Iranian Navy, and Russian Navy doing a military exercise back on January 9th to the 16th of 2026. Coincidentally, the date of April 11th marks exactly 86 days since this event transpired. Obviously, the number 86 means to throw out or to kill, and that is because this impending attack is going to change the entire world order as we know it. The date of April 12th marks exactly 1,541 days since the CIA staged Operation Chiru 22 in the Indian Ocean with the Chinese Navy, the Iranian Navy, and the Russian Navy back on January 22 of 2022. And of course, the number 1541 has the all for one, one for all numerology of 14 and 41, which is found in the national motto of Switzerland. So obviously this bears her signature. Also, the date of April 12th marks exactly 2,244 days since the CIA staged a joint naval exercise in the Indian Ocean with the Chinese Navy, the Iranian Navy, and the Russian Navy back on December 31st, 2019. Of course, 24 and 24 is X and X, and when you take two X's together and you merge them together, it forms a hexagram, which is found in the Star of David, which is coincidentally plastered on every Israeli ship and submarine who is going to be executing the attack under the guise of a preemptive strike by China, Iran, and Russia. Lastly, the date of April 12th marks exactly 2,494 days since the CIA staged a meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and then Iranian President Hassan Rouhani on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Beijing, China, back on June 14th of 2019. And of course, this again has the number 24 twice, 2494, which again is XX, which when put together form a hexagram found on the star within the Star of David on the flag of Israel. And in order to foreshadow this event, I'll pass on that. Okay. So how this is going to play out in reality is obviously not known. I have deemed that there are going to be four fronts. So there's a possibility North Korea could be involved, but it's most likely going to be China, Iran, and Russia. China is likely going to, so the Israeli submarines are likely going to be in the Asia-Pacific theater of war, launching a full-scale military bombardment targeting the likes of Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, Singapore, Australia, and New Zealand. They're likely going to target United States Armed Forces military installations because they're trying to draw the United States into World War III with these nations of Iran, China, and Russia. In North America, we can expect Israeli submarines to attack under the guise of Russian submarines. In the Asian Pacific theater of war, they're likely going to be claimed that they're Chinese, obviously. Then in the North American theater of war, the United States, Canada, Cuba, Venezuela, Argentina, Brazil, etc., it's likely going to be under the guise of Russian submarines. And that can be also said for the European theater of war, where we have England, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Portugal, likely going to target multiple U.S. bases and or metropolitan cities. And then, of course, in the Middle East theater of war, we have Turkey, Saudi, Bahrain, Israel, Kuwait, UAE, Yemen, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon. And then those are likely going to be executed by Israeli submarines masquerading as Iranian submarines. So we could envision a future scenario where these German-made Dolphin-class submarines, which are the best, are going to basically do a full send. They're going to empty everything they have, and I don't know what their ammunition depots are like, but it's going to be ugly. It's likely going to feature an alleged cyber attack, likely by China, that's going to neutralize the radar. That is because Switzerland is going to turn off or alter the NATO satellites so that these submarines can get close to the shore, probably within 10 miles, in order to launch their Pearl Harbor-like attack. So what is expected is that these submarines of the Israeli Navy are going to be launching 9/11 style kamikaze suicide drone bombing attacks, i.e. one-way drones, ballistic missile strikes, cruise missile strikes, drone strikes, mining attacks, rocket attacks, torpedo strikes, underwater drone attacks, possibly an EMP attack, knocking out the electrical grid, and then we're likely going to see multiple ship sinkings. And because it is Israel, and because they have a propensity to do horrific war crimes with glee, and I say that because they routinely use white phosphorus on unarmed Palestinian civilians, this attack is likely going to feature warheads laden with blood agents, nerve agents, choking agents, or blister agents. And this is obviously going to be in multiple theaters of war. It's likely going to happen, like I said, during the live broadcast of UFC 327 in Miami, Florida, which is going to be attended by U.S. President Donald J. Trump. It's likely going to start with a naval assault in Asia, and then it's going to start going around the world. So we could see and envision a future scenario in which there is an attack by alleged Chinese submarines targeting United States military bases in Japan, South Korea, Philippines, video of them choking to death, blistering to death in this attack. Then Iranian submarines allegedly shoot a bunch of CBRN-related warheads at U.S. military bases in the Middle East. Then it goes to Europe, and then it comes home to Miami. So I suspect that some sort of an attack is also planned for Miami by either China, Iran, or Russia, likely resulting in the death of U.S. President Donald J. Trump. But this is what they're planning. It's going to start, like I said, most likely in Asia, but I could be wrong. It could start in Europe, but it's most likely going to go around the world because they're trying to sell the notion that these three Axis countries of China, Iran, and Russia are in collusion with each other, when in reality, even though they are all puppet governments of the CIA, these leaders know that it's a death sentence to attack the United States in this manner. And so this is obviously going to be a coordinated attack by the shadow fleet of the Israeli Navy. And it's going to be ugly. And they're likely going to, from the Jewish Autonomous Oblast, which is the second Jewish state, which was founded on May 7th of 1934, which is roughly 700 miles to the north of North Korea in the Russian Federation. They're likely going to send massive ballistic missile strikes targeting bases in the Asia-Pacific theater of war, in the Middle East, and in the European theater of war. They're likely going to send a bunch of rockets from Israel and ICBMs or other ballistic missiles. So it's going to get ugly very, very, very fast. And then World War III will likely be declared by the date of April 13th, if not sooner. Like I said, in this attack, Donald J. Trump is going to be assassinated, or he's going to die of a heart attack or some sort of medical-related condition. They're getting ready to kill him. That's what the evidence suggests. And I would be very surprised if he survives the weekend. If I was a betting man, I would bet that he will be killed at some point this weekend, because all indicators are that they're either going to suicide him, assassinate him, or blow him up in some sort of an attack to trigger World War III. Obviously, praying for a peaceful weekend, but if the CIA does decide to act, we know that it is Switzerland, it's Geneva, Switzerland, that they're the ones pulling the strings. And so if this in fact transpires, I would kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets. Peace.